You ready, man?
Think so. Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to We Were Gamers. This is episode 264, I think.
Ooh. Yeah, I think you're right. Andy is the keeper of the numbers usually.
I checked several hours ago. Didn't remember if I remembered. Good job, memory. Hello, I'm JJ, and with me today
is Michael. Hi, everybody.
Yes. No Andy this week, so it's okay. The hosts you wanted are here. Andy is here sometimes also, but in this instance, no, I don't mean to throw him under the bus. He's off. We'll have him back sooner or later. I'm pretty sure sooner.
Yeah. So the second part of our controllers discussion will have to wait at least a week.
Yes. So we are tabling it. Fear not, though. There is still a lot more to discuss. We just want him to be there for it so that he has stuff to say. We can get through it. So no problem. We'll just thankfully, this was an eventful week, Michael.
Yes, it was. There is no shortage of games and game-related things to talk about.
Because this week was E3, or it continues to be E3.
Continues to be E3.
We are recording this Monday night of the 14th of June. And that's important to know because Nintendo is tomorrow.
Of course, the one that we would probably have the most to say about.
Certainly, there's a lot to... So, I'm going to now force you to make a prediction for something you think will happen at that Nintendo conference, and we will be proven wildly wrong no matter what we say.
Can I pick anything?
Yeah, anything you want, man. Whatever.
Ooh, okay. I mean, there are the two big ones, right? And I'll throw them both out there. One is that there will be an update on Breath of the Wild 2. Mm-hmm. And one is that we will get finally news will be dropped of the new hardware, a new Switch console.
Yeah, the smoke around there being a new Switch console, whether it's a Switch Pro type device that's a slightly more powerful Switch, new Nintendo Switch kind of branding or whatever, has been hot. There has been smoke on that for years, just like people saying, hey, this is a thing. But nothing has ever been announced.
In the last couple of months, it has really picked up the number of people like picking up the news and the leaks and reporting on it.
Yeah, and it's hard to know how much of that is people reporting on leaks, but I would think the amount of it is starting to reach a point where there must be something. It's just a question of whether they announce it here or do something separate later.
Yeah, I think they'll do it here, just because it's the biggest thing of the year.
In theory, right? I mean, again, though, is it because E3? Like, what is E3 this year? It's all a bunch of online. I think Nintendo could announce a Nintendo Direct and get a sizable percentage of the people that are watching because of E3, right?
Yes, yeah, they will.
So, but I think that is the safe bet, or the most discussed bet, I would say.
Yes, my if I had to pick something that I want to hear announced, I want an update on the new Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think that's a long shot.
Well, yeah,
I would love to see it.
They basically started over on development on that one, so
right. So that's why I think it's a long shot. But I would love to see that. I think that would be. People have been thirsting for that game pretty hard out there on the internet, I think, for a while. So I think if I have to pin down one thing, I really want to know what happened to Bayonetta 3.
Oh, yeah.
They announced that, like, they started talking about it, like, God, when the Switch was coming out or just came out, like, years. It's been years, and it's complete silence on that game. So I would really like that. I mean, I would like to hear about the new Switch console. I don't know that I'd be buying one or like jumping at the bit to buy one, but I really want to hear about that. Of course, Breath of the Wild 2 is well loved. But I would love to know what happened to that game. Is it dead? Like, are they doing anything with it?
Lock it up in the Nintendo vault.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I know both you and I would be interested in a new Xenoblade game, but I'm not hopeful that that's happening soon anyway.
Yes, I saw that on someone put together maybe a Twitter quiz of which of these do you think is most likely to see show up at Nintendo's E3 presser, and Xenoblade 3 was on the list.
Okay, wow. I mean, enough people have. They've made enough now of those games that it's starting to become a thing people know about and like.
Right.
So, I would play a Xenoblade 3. That is a bold declaration by me, but I would do it. So, okay, I just wanted to, now we can have predictions that you can email us about how wrong we were. So you can send those to podcast@wewergamers.com and be like, hey, you guys are dope. So what are you doing? Did you not pay attention to the announcement? It's like, no, we made this before. So, yeah, feel free to enjoy us blindly flailing about in the dark.
Yes, I think we can safely say that there will be the new Mario plus Rabbids, though.
Oh man,
thanks to Nintendo.
Please tell this story. It's so good.
So it had to have been maybe an hour before the Ubisoft forward presser on Saturday morning. Nintendo intern, I'm gonna say, had to have been just like monitoring the website and accidentally hit the go live button for Mario plus Rabbids.
Spark of
Hope? Is that what it is? Yeah, Spark of Hope. And so it showed up live on the website, and so that's how news broke right before they were supposed to actually break the news.
It was up on the eShop for like 3 hours before it was supposed to be something. Yeah, like an hour or something before the press conference, and it wasn't supposed to go on until the end of the press conference.
I like to think I like to think that they had the time that it was supposed to go up in
Eastern or something,
in
and they
Pacific
put it,
instead of Eastern, and so they hit the button at 9 a.m. on the wrong coast.
Speaking of that, that's not the only thing that a big name leaked out ahead. The Microsoft press conference was supposed to be anchored, well, who knows if they were going to show it first or not. But Starfield, the video for that leaked out about an hour or something before the Microsoft press conference by the Washington Post.
Ooh, supposedly a professional organization.
A video was posted on the Washington Post's website somewhere that was just like, Starfield trailer. That was the whole story. There was no text, no byline, nothing, just a video. And it was then the same one they showed at the very start of the Microsoft press conference. So they had, Todd Howard come out and talk about, this is the game, blah, blah, blah. And then they showed the same trailer we'd all just seen an hour ago. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to that Starfield. That's, from the makers of the Elder Scrolls space RPG thing. I don't know what it is because they didn't really show any gameplay.
No, they didn't show much at all other than the premise of launching a ship from what looked like the moon.
I mean, I like spaceships, so...
I like RPGs, so
I also
put those
like
two
those
things together.
I don't like the combat in Elder Scrolls games, though. So
I don't think I have ever played an Elder Scrolls game.
Really? Skyrim is literally on every single console.
Yeah, I know it is, but I'm a completionist when it comes to RPGs, and the idea.
So Skyrim is an uncompletable game. Yeah,
exactly. The idea of just the game being uncompletable is a little bit of a tough pill to swallow for me.
Yeah,
right. I'd rather fire up and play The Witcher 3. Sure.
I like that game also. I think it's so hard. Okay, so I have a long history with the Elder Scrolls series, right? I played Daggerfall. Wait, Daggerfall? Was it the one before Morrowind? I think it was.
I know you and Andy have attempted to list them all in order on an old pod episode, and I think you got it right at the time. So
it's impossible to know. I want to say the order is like Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. But I also want to say I never played Arena, and I only played Daggerfall after playing Morrowind. But I did play it, so I enjoyed those games. I enjoyed Morrowind quite a bit. I played a good amount of that. I played Oblivion a good amount as well, and then I just kind of fell off I played Skyrim for a bit, and I was like, this This isn't doing it. I don't know. This isn't doing it for me anymore. And this is like the Fallout. The same thing happened to me in the Fallout franchise. It's just like, because it's a similar kind of first-person game, but there's VATS, but there's no real equivalent of that in the Skyrim games, or the Elder Scrolls games. But I just something about that, like, first-person combat and like the use your ability to level it up system. Just I don't know. Anyway, it is a long way of saying that, like, I don't know anything about Starfield, and no one does, I guess. The trailer was very pretty, though. Hey.
It was very pretty, yeah, using that next-gen console hardware.
Yeah, man, wow. I can already hear my PC crying. I guess it is worth saying that every single game Microsoft showed had a logo somewhere for PC.
Yes, yeah, I noticed that, and one of the big things that they were, this is Andy's moment, so it's sad that he's not here for it.
I know,
but one of the biggest things was, they were pressing that they showed 30 something new titles, 27 of which would be available on, I think they said available at launch.
Yeah, day one, almost all of them. Yep.
Yeah,
and I know I am an avowed Yakuza fan. They mentioned you can now play literally every Yakuza game on Game Pass.
I saw that and I started laughing thinking about you.
It's like Yakuza, the Yakuza 1 Kiwami, or Yakuza 0, Yakuza 1 Kiwami, 2 Kiwami, the 3, 4, 5 collection, Yakuza 6, and now Yakuza Like a Dragon, all on Game Pass. So there you go. It's going to take you 7 months worth of subscription to play all those games, because some of them are very long, but hey, if you want to get in there and punch some dudes, Yakuza. I think, I know Andy will probably have stuff to say about Halo Infinite, and I kind of want to hash it with him because he and I are avowed Halo players. What do you think about them making the multiplayer free to play?
I think that's a smart choice.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move. And I think if they follow the battle pass-y kind of progression system of the Master Chief Collection, that it's a pretty cool way for them to do multiplayer that then you don't have to worry about missing out on stuff.
Right.
Because that was the thing that Andy and I talked about, while we were going through those Master Chief games, was that, hey, it's nice that, like, even though it's season 4 or 5 or whatever, I can, like, take my season unlocks and go back to season 1 or 2 and get stuff from those, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it so that you can jump in at any point and really not feel like you've missed anything.
Yeah, especially for a game, at least for me, like Halo, where, like, I'll probably play some multiplayer a bit, but I'm certainly not going to stick with it for months and years. I'm just not that kind of player,
Right.
And if they had made it a whole separate game that you had to purchase, you gotta assume that that's gonna hurt the number of people that buy it, right?
Yes.
And you have worries about, are there enough people playing? If I buy this a year later, is anyone still playing at all? Okay, well, if you tie it together with the campaign, is the campaign being shortchanged because this multiplayer stuff is taking all the development time? So I think doing a free-to-play system is a smart move. I just hope that they don't go crazy with it.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. Halo is a beloved enough franchise that I think the campaign will still sell on its own, even with people getting the multiplayer for free.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, right? There's enough people who want to know about the next story thing. So, of course, they then didn't talk any about the campaign whatsoever.
No, not at all.
I think the only other Microsoft thing that I wanted to hit on was, like, maybe the thing I was most surprised to see there.
The mini fridge.
I did see that after the fact. That's very dumb that they did that.
It was the post-credit scene, if you will, of their presser.
Yeah, I don't know. So the joke had always been, right, that Xbox Series X console is just like a big black square, and they're like, haha, it could be a mini fridge because it is just like a big square.
And they did last year as a marketing stunt, they did a full-size Xbox fridge.
And so now they're going to do a Series X one that looks like a Series X on the outside, and you open it and you can put sodas in there or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very funny that they're doing that. That actually wasn't what I was going to say. I was going to say the most surprising thing to see at the Microsoft press conference is Eiyuden Chronicles.
Yeah, how about that? And not just one, but both.
Yeah, the Eiyuden Rising, I guess, is what they're calling it. Is it Eiyuden?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eiyuden Rising, and that one actually will come out first.
Right.
In 2022, and then Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Right, is a 23 currently slated game.
Yes.
You know, a big caveat of we'll see on that.
Sure, healthy grain of salt.
Right, but that's I can say that I was shocked that a game like that would show up at a Microsoft press conference. Not that like I'm not excited for that game. I think both of us are.
Already added to my wish lists.
Yeah, both of them, right? Why not?
Yep.
I think I paid enough that I get them for free, and I did it anyway. Yeah, so that's if both you and I are backers of the Kickstarter. There, right, is the disclaimer.
Yes.
But I just think that doesn't seem like the kind of game you slot in between Halo Infinite and Starfield and some of these other games that they were talking about on there.
It doesn't necessarily feel like the same kind of like major AAA, but at the same time, it's it was nice to them to give a nod to like that community as well.
Yeah, it's super cool. And I think it is nice to have a game like that as a palate cleanser or something for people who are into other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many other cool stuff? Wow, that's a sentence. How much other cool stuff did you see at E3 that you want to talk about? I think that was kind of it for Microsoft for me.
I had little comments here and there. So I watched the Ubisoft presser. Let's see, what did I think about that one? That Avatar game looked pretty. Rainbow Six has gone in an interesting direction as a franchise. I don't know if I don't really play them, but the direction that this one has gone in, the most recent one that's being added, is very different. There's there's a plague spreading that you are fighting against, and it seems very much like the only thing I could compare it to was the Zerg, because they describe it as this substance that spreads along the ground. And impedes your movement while aiding the movement of the monsters that it spawns.
Yeah, that does in fact sound quite a lot like creeps from StarCraft.
It does, and it just seemed like a really interesting direction for that franchise in particular to have gone in.
I did not see Ubisoft, so I don't know what else showed up.
So that one was good. They didn't have a ton of news, but it was mostly all big title stuff.
Got it.
Trying to think, what else did I catch? We talked a little bit about the Microsoft one. Oh, I caught the Square Enix.
Sure. I saw some stuff from there.
Yep, that one was really good. The most interesting thing to me out of that one was the new Final Fantasy spin-off. Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin.
Oh,
so kind of a mouthful.
Hold on, you mean Chaos? Yes.
That would be the one.
I'm here to chaos. Is what it sounded like watching that thing.
Yeah, drink every time he says chaos.
You will be dead on the floor within 30 seconds. It's that game looked really weird.
It looks very different. Like, I'm glad that they described it as a spin-off of Final Fantasy.
it takes place. I mean, those characters, I think, are intended to be the characters of Final Fantasy 1. Garland is the last boss.
Yeah, one of them says they're the Warriors of Light, and that's your main characters in Final Fantasy 1.
It's so weird for a game that has like so little story compared to what you think of modern Final Fantasy games. To choose to make it a story action game out of that one is just very, very strange to me.
Yeah, it might make it easier though in some ways because you don't have to. You don't have a lore that you have to tiptoe around.
Yeah, sure. It's like, hey, these guys are going to go here. They're going to fight Garland, but you kind of got a lot of points in between. You can make up stuff with, right?
Yep.
I mean, we got to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Square Enix spent 80% of their press conference showing it. Yes, they did. It looks like their Avengers game, but more laid back. Apologies to Ken, who knows probably a lot more about the comic book side of this. I am led to believe that this is not even how they look in the comics. This is just they came up with new looks for these characters and created this. So it's like they don't look like the people from the MCU, right? It's not like Chris Pratt is Star-Lord. It's just some generic other dude. But the game itself looks interesting. I think it looks more fun than that Avengers game, that's for sure. Yeah, I think the way that it's set, that the combat system is set up, I think it would be more satisfying to just play through by yourself. Yeah, because you play as Peter Quill leading the team, and you can call out for your teammates to perform different actions, but you're still playing as Quill. Right. I mean, I think it is clearly it is meant as a single player game. I don't think they are intended. Well, maybe there is some multiplayer component. I don't know, but they definitely didn't show like other people playing as the other Guardians. It's you as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. Right. That's it. And maybe you can do co-op or something also, but it didn't seem like that from what they showed. How many licensed songs do you think they're going to get for his mixtape? Ooh, that's a good question. Because how many songs can you even fit on a tape from that era, right? It's supposed to be from the 80s. That's his thing, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of songs from the 80s that are good that you could put in there for sure. And they played a couple during the press conference, which I thought was funny because then people streaming it were probably worried about getting DMCA'd. But, how many could you fit theoretically on a Walkman? I mean, you've got both sides of the tape. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I have recorded songs onto a tape. Sure. I'm trying to remember how many I could usually get onto one, and I feel like it was between like 8 and 12 a side. Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe 12 if they're shorter. Yeah. So like 24 songs or something, if they come up with something like that, would be thematically appropriate. Of course, they could also very easily put 500 on there. It's it's not the same. It's space technology, right? Yeah, but if you pick your moments, you don't need that many songs. It depends, though. Right? Like, do they let you do that whenever you want? Like, it wasn't clear to me. Is that like the song drop the beat thing a scripted thing, or was it like an activated something that I got the sense that it was the kind of thing where you had to it had like a charge up bar to it. And so the ability charged over the part of a fight, and once it got all the way charged up, you could use it up to give yourself a boost, and then it had a cooldown and recharge time. So I mean, conceivably, you could be hitting that button quite a lot during the course of a game. I mean, I guess it depends on how long the game is, right? Yeah, and how how involved it is to charge it up. Yeah. There's something about how those characters just look so strange to me. I don't know what it is. It is like they were going for both a realistic and a comic book look at the same time, and it weirded me out in places. I don't know. It's just like grew on me. Go ahead. It grew on me over the course of the trailer. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I ended in a place like, okay, I like this. I think it's just seeing the like giant Groot and Rocket Raccoon that are both very obviously Groot and Rocket Raccoon, but also not the Groot and Rocket Raccoon I think of when I think of those characters, right?
Yeah, the hardest thing for me to get past in that whole first look at the gameplay was Rocket's voice.
Oh yeah, because it's not Ed Helms, right?
Not Ed Helms. What's his name?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. And again, I guess credit to them. They're trying to do their own thing. I don't think they're trying to tell any of those stories. In the same way, because I did notice this branding. It was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, just like it was Marvel's Avengers and Marvel's Spider-Man.
Yes.
And I think that is code for, we gave you these characters and the rights to use them, but we didn't tell you how to make them look, and it's definitely not the movie continuities.
Yeah, and they said that they interviewed the developers as part of the conference, and the developers were saying that that was an intentional choice, that they didn't want to try and make the movie characters or the comic book characters. What they wanted to do was take the characters and interpret them in such a way to tell the best story for the medium.
Okay, see, that must have been one of the parts I fast forwarded through.
Probably.
Okay, but that's very cool.
But it made a lot of sense, right? At that point, I settled a little more into so they're just all going to be different, and that was a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like by the end of it, when you first see that Peter Quill, you're just like, who is this dude? And then by the end of the trailer, or by the end of the segment, I was like, all right, this seems fun. He definitely seems like Star-Lord. It's not like, he's definitely acting in a very Peter Quill way. So,
yes.
I am cautiously optimistic that game will be fun, and afraid that it will be riddled with microtransactions.
Yeah, let's hope not.
What other stuff from Square Enix? Oh, and Michael, are you excited for Pixel Remaster of Final Fantasy 1 through 6?
I am hesitant about Pixel remasters for the first 6 Final Fantasies, because I love a lot of those games, and their last round of remasters ruined some of them.
They weren't remasters, that's for sure. They were ruinings of those games. And in fact, I wish it had been Pixel Remaster singular and you got 6 games. But instead, it appears that you get 6 individual titles called Pixel Remaster, Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2, etc. And you have to buy 6 separate titles. People have been out there on the internet pulling the sprites and stuff out of those pictures, because there was no other media provided from those things out to the population. There's like that trailer and nothing else.
Clips.
People have been like lining up pictures of those sprites next to the original sprites. Michael?
Can you tell much difference?
They're not the same.
Okay.
They have changed them. They look different. That's all people can say. There's a comparison image floating around out there. I don't know how accurate it is. Obviously, I didn't do any of this work myself. And it's not like they're providing you great detailed shots of this stuff to look at. But why can't you just take the original games that people like and use those graphics? Why do you got to redo it? Just make higher res versions of the same art. Isn't that what people want?
I would think so.
So I don't know. Anytime you redo pixel art, right, you're going to get people that hate the new pixel art because it's inherently subjective. I don't know. Who knows? If all they did, right, was take the original game, make it run widescreen, and that's it, I think people would have been happy.
I was going to say, that would be enough for a lot of people.
Yeah. Instead, I don't know what this is. And like you, I am somewhat afraid, especially by the fact that they said coming to Steam and mobile, which is a terrifying thing to say for games that came out originally on console, and the mobile ports were not good. And conspicuously missing Where is my Final Fantasy Tactics, Michael?
I don't know.
Why don't they put it out on PC? They didn't even put out the Final Fantasy Tactics mobile port, which exists, out on Steam like they did with all the other ones.
Yeah, it seems like a kind of a glaring omission.
I would pay even for their bad Final Fantasy Tactics mobile port on PC. Do it, Square Enix, you cowards. And while we're talking about stuff that Square Enix are cowards for not doing, where's the Persona games on PC? Oh, wait, no. Is that Atlas? That is Atlas. All right, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's not Square Enix's fault for that one.
Sorry, Square Enix.
Where are you, Atlas? Put those ones out on PC. What the heck? Okay. Square Enix. Was there anything else in there? I kind of think that was it. They showed other stuff, but I kind of didn't care about it.
There was a brief teaser for the new Hitman Sniper.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's weird.
Yeah, it's a new it's a spin-off, and I want to say it might be for mobile.
I want to say that also because I'm pretty sure the main Hitman games are not owned by Square Enix.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a mobile spin-off, and I guess you play a sniper team that in the Hitman universe.
Okay. I am a fan of the Hitman universe, so I would like that.
Yeah, we'll see how it translates to touchscreen.
I'm still waiting for Hitman 3 to come to my platform of choice so that I can import all my Hitman 2 and Hitman 1 stuff. One day. All right. I think that's kind of it for Square Enix. There's a couple other games I noted from like other conferences. I don't know if you have other ones as well. Obviously, as this resident Souls fan on this podcast, I'm gonna talk about Elden Ring.
Yep. You mean Dark Souls 4?
No, Michael. It says Elden Ring. It doesn't say Dark Souls.
It does, buddy.
It doesn't say Dark Souls anywhere on there. I don't know where you got that idea. It's very crazy of you to suggest that. But yeah, no, look, it looks a lot like Dark Souls, and I think that's intentional, right?
Yes.
There are horses, though. That's cool. You've never been able to ride a horse before.
Yes,
I don't know how you're going to fight from horseback.
I still question whether or not that was a horse.
Yeah, okay, sure. Maybe it's like some kind of weird antler demon or something. I don't know. Horse-like creatures. That looked very cool. You can also tell that it's like very much falling in the Dark Souls vibe when they're like, oh, tarnished one or whatever, during their little narration sequences. And that's I think they call you hollow ones in the Dark Souls games. Like they just had to find another thing they could call you something ones. Right. I very much enjoyed that. I didn't really watch the PC gaming show, and to my understanding, there was not actually anything really good announced there. But
it wasn't great this year. I did watch that one.
Okay. I did see one game there though, or a trailer for a game that came off of that called Songs of Conquest.
Okay, yeah.
Did I get it right? I think that's the name.
Yeah, I think that's right.
This game looks rad. Did I actually get it right? Yeah, Songs of Conquest. That is the name.
The kingdom builder, right?
No. Well, yes, but do you know what this game is? This game is Heroes of Might and Magic, Michael.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Like very deeply. This is like Heroes of Might and Magic 2/3 is what this game is. All the way down to there's like a map and your hero walks around on it on a grid. Your castle has like a bunch of little buildings that it builds out and that give you resources. You fight on a grid that is separate from the overworld map that has hexes.
Yep.
You have inventories and you can trade stuff back and forth between your heroes. You have units. Your hero themselves doesn't fight directly in the combat. They kind of stand off to the side and your other units do the fighting. It is a Heroes of Might and Magic game in all but name. I didn't know they were making these. This is awesome. so many hours of Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and 3.
So this one is right up your alley.
So many hours. Yes. And it even says on their Steam page, like the first page is turn-based strategy game inspired by 90s classics. And those 90s classics are Heroes of Might and Magic 1, 2, and 3. This looks cool. I know nothing about this game other than that trailer that they showed. The trailer looked cool. They said there's going to be 4 factions and then campaigns. If they follow the Heroes of Might and Magic strategy, each faction will have their own little campaign. And then maybe you unlock like a separate unified campaign at the end or something, depending on the story. Yeah. Man, that just hit like so many nostalgia centers in my brain on that one. It was just like overload. It's like, oh my God, I'm 10 years old again and playing this turn-based game with my friends. Yeah. That was kind of it for me, though. Anything else you wanted to highlight on?
There was one other one that looked interesting to me. It was called Greek, Greak, Memories of Azure.
Okay.
And it's a little bit like a cross between Hollow Knight, in terms of what the graphics reminded me of, and Trine, in the sense that you control 3 heroes basically at the same time and trade off between them to solve puzzles and make your way through the levels.
Okay. I like Trine quite a bit. That's a very fun game.
So you should find this one. It's on the Steam store already.
Okay. I'm already looking this up. Adding.
But the art style looks great. It looks a little bit like hand drawn. I'm pretty sure it is.
I see it now. It's definitely like a very hand drawn quality, looking like a painterly aspect to the landscapes and stuff.
Yeah, but you see what I mean, that it has echoes of Hollow Knight.
Oh yeah,
a little more color.
Yes, Hollow Knight very drab. This one definitely the small character, the very big world. The puzzles definitely look very Trine-like, where you're doing multiple things on the map at the same time with different characters. Yeah, and like this person looks like they're double jumping here in this screenshot, which is that looks like a thing. All right, well, added that to the wish list. Easy.
Yeah, that was an easy choice. So that one definitely stood out to me. I'm trying to think. Silt. There was one called Silt that looked pretty good. It's a black and white where you are a swimmer in an underwater world, and trying to solve. There wasn't much shown other than just some little bits of gameplay, so you didn't really get much of an idea of the story. But it looked like trying to escape from this underwater world.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing for me, a lot of what I saw were more indie games than like AAA studio titles. And one of the things that stood out the most, I think, was the amount of games that were trying to tap into success, be it from a play style or more often an art style of some of the more popular games recently. So I saw 3, maybe 4 games over the 2 or 3 days worth of press conferences that I watched that all evoked Disco Elysium. Whether it was in their art style or in like the gritty sort of noir detective story. And there were, that was just one example, but there were plenty of other games that all felt like, okay, this is the game that they're trying to emulate because it was so successful, and they're trying to catch lightning in a bottle again.
Man, that has to be such a dangerous road to go down, because especially with a game like Disco Elysium, where I don't think you could make a game like that again. And obviously, if you're just emulating the art style or a detective game, you can go a billion ways, right?
Right. Yeah, and they were all variations.
Well, it must be hard out there for game makers when there are so many good games, even in a year where it seems like most of the best games all got delayed. So, yeah. I hope that there's a lot of cool stuff on Nintendo's press conference coming up tomorrow. I guess we shall see.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. All right, let's move away a little from E3 and talk about what you and I have been up to. I have been continuing to play Cold Steel 4. And I don't have to do the stupid thing where I name the 800-word long title for Andrew. So, yeah, more Cold Steel 4. That game's really long. Getting into it, man. It's going to be a big deal when the church shows up early, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they play a not insignificant role already in the Trails in the Sky games.
So, yeah, that is... it is already on, as you might say. What about you, Michael? What have you been up to?
So I downloaded and installed Trails from Zero, but having just finished Trails the Third, I wanted something to do as kind of a break in between. So I finally I opened up my Epic Games library full of all the free downloaded games that I have gotten from them but not played any of, and fired up Celeste.
Okay. I liked Celeste a lot. It was very hard, though.
Yes. Yeah, I am definitely finding that. So the regular, I guess the A side levels are challenging, but still pretty fair. The B sides, which I have been unlocking as I've gone along, and I think I've gone through 2 of them now, but those are a big step up in just brutal platforming.
Yeah, the B sides are tough, dude. I did not even come close to finishing all the B sides. I played most of them or several of them. I definitely didn't finish close to most of them, though.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just the kind of thing where it takes you a while to figure out what they mean you to do in each room. And then even after you figure it out and you know exactly, oh, I need to jump here, and then I need to jump straight up here, and then over this way and dodge this, executing all of the little steps in a row just to get through a single room is difficult.
Yeah, especially like even towards the end of the normal, the A side route levels, there's tough platforming in there. Like, it's already hard, and the B sides really crank it at some levels to, they take the dial and they turn it up to 10 if it was at 9.
Yeah.
And some of them is really, really tough.
Yeah, I've got about one B side at a time in me before my hand starts to feel it. I'm like, I need to take a break.
Yep. It definitely, I absolutely remember parts when I was playing that where like my hand would cramp from how I was holding the controller and hammering away at some buttons in certain points, right?
Yeah, for me it's the tension of holding the button down to cling to the walls. Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of that. And you don't need to press it harder to hold the wall. You hold it the same whether you're clamping down on that button or not.
Turns out, but it's almost harder to just hold it down with light pressure.
I eventually had to learn to let go a little, How are you liking some of that stuff in Celeste? It is like the different weird, I don't know, mechanics is the wrong word, yeah, but like that, the little things that they're doing.
Yeah, I really like the way that they steadily incorporate them. So the like wedges of space that you can fly through, and the orbs, the green, I guess it's green and red orbs that launch you either all the way across the screen or just a short distance in a certain direction. I think it's a really clever use. And not just use, but building upon of different ideas. Yeah,
especially, nope. nope, we're gonna wait. I want to. There's a couple specific levels.
Too much late game.
There's too much specific level. There's two or three specific levels I want to talk about. That I know you've played at least one of them, and I think Andy has played one too. But I know neither of you have played the second one. I don't know about the third one, so we'll wait because I want to get Andrew's opinion too, because also I know he is struggling the same way you are.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they let you restart really quick after dying in that game.
And I think that makes it a lot more palatable, is that it's a split second between dying and just being right back on the starting platform.
Yes, which it needs, because some of those rooms you get to the end and you're like, just this last jump, and then you die and you are enraged and you need to set the controller down.
Yeah, you get to the end of a B-side and the numbers start to roll and you're like, 350 deaths? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. That yeah. I don't remember what my stats were in that game, but the death numbers were very, very high for some of those levels.
Yes. Yeah, they add up real quick. Especially when you're trying to go out of your way to get one of the strawberries.
Bro, those strawberries are a fool's errand. Don't. There are some that are placed in the most devious places.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, how do you even get this? What do you even do?
And there's some of that too, where you just pause it and stare at the screen and you're like, what do they want me to do here?
How can it even be done?
Yeah.
There is a way, but it is sometimes it is very, very rude, the stuff you have to do,
or counterintuitive. I think those are the hardest ones to puzzle out. It's like, oh, I need to go under this platform instead of over it,
or jump over and hold the other side of the platform instead of the normal side.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of really weird stuff like that. You immediately see frequently immediately see the way out of the room you're in, right? Oh, it wants me to go over here, follow this path, collect these things or whatever.
Right. And but what if I go this way?
And then you see a hole in the upper right, and you're like, can I get up there? Oh, the block slides back, maybe? And then, lo and behold, there's a strawberry up there or something, right?
Yep.
Oh, man. That game's so good. Man, Celeste is so much fun. What a great game.
Yeah,
I'm glad you guys are playing it. I'm so excited.
So we'll talk more about that when Andy's back.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of rounding out the other stuff I've been playing, I reinstalled Darkest Dungeon for no reason that I can understand. I don't know, turn-based combat is fun. But that game is impossibly long and really just wants you to throw your heroes into the meat grinder.
Yeah.
And I think I don't have it in me to actually do that. I like the idea of playing that game because it really does have a really tight combat system where, you have each of your 4 heroes and they all have 4 moves, and then, you fight a team of up to 4 or some number of enemies, and it's turn-based combat, and you have to decide, well, do I want to heal this turn? I can only take 1 action, and I'm at a third health. I can heal for 4 hit points, or I can do 7 points of damage, or I can buff my team with 2 speed. Which of these is worth it,
Right, yeah, you gotta do that math.
Yeah, and it's I really enjoy the combat in that game. It's just it is so hard. You really just have to play a ton of it, and I think that's the part that I wish I didn't have to. Even on the easy mode of that game, you still have to just play a ton of it. I think I just wanted to find something turn-based after seeing that turn-based trailer, and was like, oh yeah, turn-based games. I just couldn't. Should I just reinstall Heroes of Might and Magic 2? Is that what this is coming down to?
I mean, that feels like where it's leading you to get yourself prepared for Songs of Conquest.
Yeah. I don't know when that Songs of Conquest game comes out. Is it next year?
Ooh, did it have a date on it? That's a good question.
Q1 2022.
Okay, so not terribly far off in the grand scheme of video game announcements.
Yeah. So, next year sometime. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, a pitch for people, though, if you want something to play that you can play immediately and get for free. When this airs, you will have maybe a little less than 24 hours to go out to the Epic Store and download Control.
Hey, people should play Control. That's a fun game. a big game. There's a lot of game in Control. People should play that.
Yeah. So I pulled that one down, and I'm looking forward to starting that one at some point.
That will be a very different experience from Celeste.
Yes.
May I recommend don't turn on the ray tracing.
I did remember that from when you talked about it.
Your card will be crippled. Turn it off and you'll get, it looks good without it. So it's not like it's ruining the game, but you turn it on and you get, 10 frames, and then you turn it off and you're getting 55.
Yeah. Slight difference.
Oh. So, yeah, I think this is a cool week, man. I'm excited to hear what Nintendo does. I hope it is cool stuff. I'm crossing my fingers over here, which you can't see, but that's what I'm doing.
Same.
All right, well, if people want to get at us, Michael, where could they do that?
If you want to send us your predictions for Nintendo, you can email us at podcast@weweregamers.com. We love hearing from you. We tend to batch up our emails and read them all out at once. I know it's one of Andy's favorite things to do.
Certainly.
You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. We Were Gamers on all those places. You should check out our YouTube, We Were Gamers. It's easiest to find if you type it in as all one word. There's some good additional content out there, especially if you're a Star Trek fan with our subspace transmissions.
Oh yeah. And there's some good Star Wars content out there. There's a good number of carbon scorings out there for people who are interested in that as well. And I think there will be another subspace transmission coming sooner or later. But I think, we got to wonder, are we going to talk about that Loki show, Michael, on this podcast?
Oh, we very well might. Did you watch the first episode?
I did.
We did as well.
We'll have to wait for Andrew to get. I'm optimistic.
Yes, a lot of exposition in that first episode, but I am definitely optimistic as well.
It seems interesting. That's all I will say.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, until next week, you can find us all over the internet, as Michael just said, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks for tuning in.